Hey folks, Rob here, and if you watched the last video, we shot some guns today here on Thanksgiving Day. My sister wanted to shoot some, and so I brought out the Taurus, and we was shooting the herders through it. And there toward the end, after I'd turned off the cameras, because we shot quite a bit, we just didn't record much. There was some of them didn't want to be on film, and it's just, so we just got what little footage I could and made a video out of it. But the Taurus started, the herders didn't want to go in there. They'd have to go about that far, and then I'd have to push them on in the chamber. And this Taurus, just to be honest with you, hasn't been cleaned in I don't know how many rounds. So the chamber seemed to be gunking up a little bit. They were getting tough going in, so I thought, well, we'll bring it out here tonight, and we'll take it apart and clean it. Got some other guns to clean, and that'll give me a chance to test out this new Huntpro, or Huntpro. This is the 22-30 caliber kit, and if you hear Lily in the background, she's tearing up a something back there, a 22 shell box that I dropped on the floor. So anyway, we're going to disassemble this gun. And you want to make sure it's empty. Magazine's out. The gun is empty. You always want to make sure your firearms are empty. Pull back a little bit. Now, these Tauruses, I tend to have a little bit of trouble sometimes getting that slide off. But popped right off that time. So, we're pretty dirty in there. So, let me refocus this here. We're pretty dirty. So we're going to clean this up. And the problem I was having was the rounds going into the barrel. So it seemed like the chamber was getting really dirty. So there is our barrel. So we're going to give this a good scrubbing. And to do that with, I'm going to go back to the old Hoppies number 9. This is just to me, an old standby that if you got a lot of buildup, it's just a good thing to use. And we're going to put some of this down the bore. These bore brush, this handle is pretty nice. You always want to try to go through the direction of the bullet if you can. You can't always do that. Some guns just don't allow for that. We're going to run this down a few times and get that powder out of the bore. And shoo, she is dirty. Dirty. We may have to take the bore scope down that and look around. I'm going to take this little toothbrush here. I'm going to have to get me another jar of Hoppies. I spilled mine here a while back. I spilled it on the table, and I'm about out, but just because I spilled it. Look at the black gunk rolling out the end of the barrel. So, she's dirty. This gun has not been cleaned in, well, just be honest with you. I cleaned it when I first got it and over-oiled it. And it didn't function well. I took it apart, cleaned it, and dried it off some. Got some of the excess lube off of it. And it hasn't been cleaned since. So, several hundreds of rounds have been put through this with no cleaning whatsoever. So, that's I tend to be bad about that sometimes. I shoot them quite a bit and don't clean them. I'll wipe them down on the outside, but a lot of times I don't clean the bores after every shooting. So we've got most of it on the outside. Let's go through our bore a time or two more with our brush here. Now I've been using bore mops, and bore mops are great, but they just do not get this stuff, this tough built up stuff off they just don't scrub it out like a good bronze brush. So we've went down that a few times. She is looking better. Like I said, we may have to drag out our pistol bore scope and inspect this one, because you know Taurus did have a bad batch of barrels there for a while. We're going to get us a swab out of here. I'll probably have to cut them down. They always come too big and you have to cut them. Might be able to tear it in half. These things are tough. Let me get my knife. For some reason my knife blade has become magnetic and it wants to, and it needs sharpening terribly. I do need to sharpen this. So we'll run us a jag through it. We'll take our brush off and we will get our 22 little brass jag here. Most of these are plastic with most other kits. These are brass, which are very nicely made. Now let's see if we can get this to go down there. Yes, she is. Look how dirty that is. She's coming out pretty dirty. Alright, let's get us another clean one. Hopefully this will stop the, and it might not just like the herders. The herders may just be a ammunition that it just don't particularly like. And the chamber could have been extremely dirty as well. So I'm hoping that's all it was just the chamber dirty. See, that one came out fairly clean. So let's see if we can get a look down the bore. I can see the riflings and everything. The chamber looks good and clean. The rifling all looks good. So I think that will be good for that. We got our barrel clean and our guide rod assembly. I'm just going to wipe it off. And now let's clean our slide. See, if you can see here, I got a lot of built up carbon here on the breech face. So let's take our little toothbrush and dip it in some hoppies. I'm going to go get me another jug of hoppies. I've used this stuff since, well, I was a kid. I've probably used hoppies for 50 years. And well, maybe not 50, but a good 45 years I've used hoppies to clean guns. And, you know, there's a lot of other high-tech cleaners out there, but you know, I've always had good luck out of hoppies. Seems like it's just hard to beat an old standby. Is that why they call us older people fuds? Because we're fuddy-duds and we don't want to change our ways? And, you know, is that where that term comes from? Us old folk that don't want to step away from the old ways? I'm going to get me a little pick right here, and I'm going to go in here and scrape some of this carbon off, because there's still some carbon in there. We're going to scrape that clean. Make sure we get around our ejector good, or ejector. And clean that out good. Should have brought some Q-tips out. Sheila fusses at me every time I bring Q-tips up. She's like, where's all them Q-tips go? I just bought a box. Guess who gets the blame? Me. Alrighty, so that looks pretty good. Let me get one of these little pieces here. Get down against this. Try to get all that carbon out I can. Alright, I think that looks pretty good. Got that pretty good. We'll set that aside. Now let's work on our frame a little bit. Ain't too much to the frame. I'll take my same little toothbrush and just brush all this carbon off. Get down in the mag well, your slide stop, your transfer bar here, or your trigger bar, whatever they want to call it, striker bar, hammer bar. I guess they go by a lot of different terms. But clean that up. And I'm not going to over lube this gun. This gun kind of prefers to run on the dry side. I'm going to put just a little and call that good. Now, I have been using the CLP as a lubricant, and I think it does a fine job of cleaning too, but I think there's just times when you need to do a more thorough clean, and I think Hoppy's is hard to beat when it comes to getting a good thorough clean on your guns. So I like to take a rag and just get down in there, take a pick and just get down in there and get all you can get out. So, and it don't have to be perfect. Get as much of that solvent off as you can. Alright, I think that will suffice. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take my CLP and we'll put one drop right there. One drop right there. One drop there. And one drop there. And I'm going to call the frame good. I'm going to set that aside. We're going to reassemble our slide. I'm going to put one drop in the slide rail, one drop on this side, and that's going to be good. We're going to reinstall our barrel. We'll put one drop right here and reinstall our recoil spring. I hope I was on camera for that. Reinstall our recoil spring, get it centered good, and put it back onto our slide. Now, I know this doesn't have to go all the way back. There we go. So we'll test fire or make sure it functions, and we're going to wipe it off. That is aluminum, so it's not going to rust. We're going to wipe our gun off, and we're going to call that good. I might take this rag and just wipe the powder residue off my magazine up here a little bit. Don't want to lubricate them, just make sure they're clean. If they're really dirty, you can disassemble them by pushing here, taking them apart, but I think it's fine. And reassemble, and our gun is reassembled and ready for hopefully a few more hundreds of rounds before we cleaned again. So anyway, guys, that was the cleaning of the Taurus tx22. Like I said, we started having some problems with the rounds going into the chamber. They just seem to be really tight going in. So anyway, I appreciate everybody watching. Hope you enjoy the video. This is an awesome gun. I love this gun. It's lightweight. It's got a nice trigger. This gun just likes to shoot fast. So anyway, guys, till the next one, we'll see you guys later. Appreciate you watching.